here for how long?
About 3 years.
Okay, in your experience here, have you noticed, does college typically have a negative or positive influence on a student's identity? Like, does religion change while they're in college? Does it typically change the way they act and behave?
Well, first off, it is a positive influence.
Right.
And whether or not you face it depends on if you face it early or not. I guess we'll talk about personal experiences, and I've been raised with religion from the time I was really big, and I believe very firmly in what I believe. I've believed that my whole life. You just do that cage. But anyways, college influenced it. You know, you meet new people, you find out exactly how sheltered or unsheltered you might have been. You know, if you're like me, you do really stupid things, but then you grow up. I'd say it was, yes, my religion, my faith is a very, very huge positive impact.
Okay, but in students you see here at the campus center, does religion typically, is the first thing to go? Most students go through transformation, come from high school to college.
Right. You put it away. Well, not everyone puts it away, but you see kids, they come from very churched homes, and then and you hear all the time, they leave home and they do their own thing. It's part of growing up. So, you know, most of the students I see come through the center, they're here because they want to find a direction. Either they've wandered off and they want to come back, or they don't want to wander off, and so they want to find a place that they can interact with other Christian college students, so that way their foundation will stay strong.
Right.
Other kids, they've fallen away, and they want to kind of reestablish where they are with their faith.
Okay. So now, statistically, we have no idea how many students here on campus are actually religious or attend religious services or practice their faith, but I mean, rough estimate, do you think religion in college is something of the past, or do you think it's fading away unless a small percentage of students practice religion here?
It's not fading away. I think.
But it's becoming less popular.
Well, has religion ever been popular?
No, but
I'd say kids nowadays they don't want to talk about it in public. I've seen that it's not necessarily, they're shy about their faith, and you get on campus and people aren't nearly as like boisterous probably as they were back, or some other generation when it was, you were respected for whether it be going to church or attending a ministry. Socially speaking, all that has changed.
Right.
And whether or not it's political correctness, you have to focus on a lot of things. So while it may not be popular, I think there are students. Well, there's obviously students that are.
Right.
Embarrassed. But you also do see it that they kind of shy away from it. More students, or less students are gonna. It seems like less students are really active in ministries. Even if they're Christians, they shy away from becoming active in ministries. And part of me believes it's kind of it's an image thing. They may want to appear cool if you're part of a ministry, but while it's not restrictive, some kids view it as restrictive. So accountability may play a part. That if you don't stand up for anything, you don't have to stand up for anything.
Right.
So sometimes it's easier just to go home to your parents and you're like, go to church. You go back to school and you don't do much.
Okay. So do you think religion plays a important role in a college student's identity?
Or religion should, that should be your identity.
Right.
Way.
But does it play a role in how identity changes for some students? In what ways do you see that?
You
like
either
the way they dress, act, how do you dress into?
Yeah, I mean it's more of your actions, and also it's easy to say you're a Christian, and
But not necessarily, you can say you're Christian, but not necessarily
It's
do
the,
anything.
it's the actions that
Right.
that are the hardest.
It's the part, right.
You know, because at the end of the day, everyone in this country, Christian is more of just is more of a stigma for the United States.
Mhm.
And so you're going to get more kids than not. They're like, oh, they're Christian. But, you know, you interact with them for 10 minutes and you realize that they don't have any idea what being a Christian is all about.
Right.
So, yeah, it plays a role in your identity, and whether it's an identity you're trying to hide or it's an identity you're very proud of.
Right. Do you think that that's the crowd a Christian student hangs out with has a big influence on how they...
Mhm. Oh yeah. And what's frightening about that is if you become friends with people, you trust them.
Right.
And so even if they're a bad influence on your faith, you trust them, and you find yourself in situations that are bad.
Okay.
So of course, it's like anything, your associations implicate you.
One more question. The saying that a student's religion isn't influenced or they're not embarrassed by those around them, do you think a student with strong convictions would be better off staying isolated and keeping those convictions strong, or do you think they should mingle with students that are perhaps not as fortunate to have religious beliefs and try to influence them to be a positive witness?
I think you should mingle. We're called to witness. We're called to, as Christians, we're called to, to be witnesses for Christ.
So you're saying that, say somebody who is grounded in their belief,
Mm-hmm.
would you be an advocate of a student like that going to a public setting like Aggieville and being with his friends that aren't necessarily, like, not necessarily engaging in those behaviors that are foolish,
Right.
or...
That student needs to make sure that you handle it.
Right.
You know, what is... If a Christian student can handle being around, you know, what is a lot of temptation, whether it's drinking, just interactions with people, if they can handle that and be around those people, then, I mean, part of me says they almost should be in that situation, because then they can act as a witness for those around them. But if they know it's a weakness, if they know that if they're trying to walk down a more positive road, and they, you know, maybe they want to stop drinking more, for instance, then I think spiritually healthy to stay away from that. You know, you have to build your own house before you can fix someone else's.
Right.
So, if you can't handle drinking, if you can't handle, you know, partying, what that could lead to, then, you know, yeah, you should isolate yourself. But if you're grounded strong enough in that, and you can be a positive influence, then why not? You know, because who knows who might be watching you,
Right.
and that's anywhere. That,
But most religion doesn't really have, especially in college, doesn't have much validity, because a lot of students say, well, you're a Christian, but you're no better than anybody else, and why should I take you seriously?
Well, Christians, especially Christian students, need to take that into consideration.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you tell someone you're a Christian, but then 10 feet later, it can be something as minor as your hand gets slammed in a door. If you fly off the hanger, is that a Christian behavior? No, and so, you know, that's a bad witness. I think it is easy just to be like, oh, I'm a Christian, and then you go do whatever you want. Right? But you know, you do have to watch it, and it's even that. Then that goes full circle back into, oh, well, I can't do anything if I'm a Christian. I can't do anything if I'm religious. You know, no, you just have to be decent and be.
Okay, Trey, well, thank you very much for your time. Sure appreciate your insight.
No problem.
All right, have a good day.
You too.